So yeah, I guess if Mukesh and Garima want to organize like a panel, I feel like Vivek should definitely be on it. I'm happy to join in, but I'm happy to also have other folks who want to be on the panel as well. I think any one of us here could definitely like jump in on it, depending on the date and time. So, I mean, really, the question is, Vivek, do you want to do the panel? Uh,
Yeah, I would love to be part of it. I think I'll be comfortable if there's at least one other person from this group there. I don't know how big or small the panel is. I'll be glad to do it. I think if there's one more person, that'll be nice. But if it has to be just me, I'm glad to be part of the discussion.
okay, sounds good.
I'll make sure they loop
Yeah,
you
we
in.
can. Yeah. And then if anybody else wants to be on it, we can do that as well. This might be like a larger CDF thing, whereas like our part 2 open discussion or birds of a feather on it will probably come a little bit later. And yeah, Vivek, I'm happy to, like in the Slack, I kind of told them, oh, we'll probably need like a couple more months before we do a part 2. But if you want to do that before, like if you want to do a part 2 before that, I'm happy to do it as well. I just don't know how much more I have to go into it besides what we discussed in the last one, if that makes sense.
Sure thing. For now, I'm trying to evaluate what should be the ideal next step. Should we break it down into different portions, or do we focus providing value only in the data operations space as it concerns MCP or other MCP and the 808 protocol in the DataOps context? That is what I've been researching. Once I have something concrete, I will share it with the group, and then we can vote to decide whether how do we want to take it forward.
Okay, fantastic. Vivek is our new in-house MCP expert. I love it. Go on.
I was just saying, just an enthusiast, not an expert by any means. There's so much in it.
No, I think the more you talk about something, the more you become an expert in it. At least that's what we're positioning you as right now, which I'm happy to do. So, fantastic. We can also, I know that it's under blogs in terms of project updates, but I do know Jesse like put together a bit of a blog around it. So Jesse, do you want to share that as well so that we get everybody sign off? I don't know if we've published it yet, but we can also share.
I was gonna say, if you're referring to the one about MCP, I believe it's already published. Yeah, Roxanne already linked it.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. So, do you want to share your screen so that you can go over some of the blog that you've put together?
Sure thing. Give me a moment.
Yeah, we're milking this for what it's worth, which is a good thing to milk, anyways.
I mean, all the credit's really due to, the meeting that you guys already had, and Vivek having really like legible and understandable information for me to bounce off of. Really, it was break down the meeting and tried to summarize the best we could, at least from my understanding of it. Obviously, you guys being the experts relative to me, so did a minor breakdown of what is MCP. I kind of just gave the gist of it. Actually, we did end up stealing the word's escaping me, but the example for the analogy from the discussion that you guys had in reference to the lake. So Vivek, I appreciate that for making my job easy for a tagline. Did a simple breakdown of my understanding of the actual architecture. Obviously, if there's something wrong with it, let Roxanne know because it's now her problem.
Yeah, I can update anything.
But yeah, so hopefully it's enough to get people interested. Obviously, I'm glad to hear that the YouTube videos going well. If there's something more that can be added, or if we need to stress something else, like by all means, send me a message either on Slack or here or however you want to get a hold of me or Rexan, and I'll edit where I need to. So
But I think it's good that it's short.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
people can watch the video. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Roxanne,
no, I really appreciate the quick turnaround on that.
it was very well done, Jesse. Thank you so much, Jesse, Roxanne. It's very succinct and just enough for people to understand what is MCP in a minute, what is A2A in a minute, and how they interplay. And then for more, they can look at the comparison sheet, they can look at the YouTube video. And there are different ways of doing it. This is our take on how we are perceiving this from a data operations perspective. So I really liked it. Thank you for putting this.
But I could do right by your guys' hard work.
Oh, well, I'm happy to see like us be able to play off each other like that. And again, Jesse, thank you so much for getting this together. We really appreciate it. It's always in theory easy to make a blog post, but it's actually quite hard to sit down and actually type it out. Is what I found, especially to translate floating ideas into actual like structured sentences. It's not easy. Many people think it is, but it's not. So thank you so much. And yeah, have we, oh, we'll get into it in the blogs later then, I guess, some of Victor's stuff. And I think we have already covered the meeting invites on the meeting notes, but yeah, I really like some of this MCP stuff we've got going on. I think there's some momentum going on around it, and I'm really happy to see people so excited. From what I can see, it's really put our initiative on the map for whatever reason. So thanks, Vivek and Jesse, for helping do that. And let's see. Yeah, we can go into some of the project updates now if we want to go into that. Dan, the Sage Khan, I'm trying to do a 50-50 split between saying the full thing and saying just Dan. So if you see some inconsistency, that's why. But I don't know if there's any new updates on the landscape side. I haven't done my work yet in terms of forking over the repo, but I just wanted to give you space in case there was anything that you wanted to talk about. I think that you're still connecting to audio. I don't know if you're able to hear this. Otherwise, we can start with some of the other blogs. No, I think he's connecting to audio. So when he comes back, we'll discuss it. But I did want to ask about Victor's blog part 1 as well, if we were able to get that out. I think that it's in a pretty good space. So
I thought we were waiting for you.
are we?
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't be the bottleneck. Is it just on my final sign off for
Jesse,
the part 1?
for the part 1 blog, was it Lisa or Victor or?
I believe we were looking for a blessing on part 1 from Lisa and Victor. I believe part 2 is where I think Victor had said that Lisa would have buy-in or potentially topic add-in to work off of, and that would determine whether or not we were splitting part 3, I believe.
Remember, Lisa said you're gonna write something about the data catalog.
Sorry?
This is true. I was going to add something about data catalogs in there. Let's see. How crucial well, let's go over it right now, and then I'm free after this meeting very excitedly, and so I can actually do that as well for the data catalogs. But let's see. But other than that, I feel like it's pretty good to go. Like I can add a little bit on data catalogs so that we can just publish right after. Does that work for everybody?
Yes, I won't be publishing it until next week anyways, because I'm busy. But yeah, if you tell me it's ready, then I'll start doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Because the way that we're splitting it right now is the history and then the role. Okay. Okay, yeah, I can add a little bit of note. I don't want to add too much on data catalogs, but I'll add like a paragraph. So I don't want to end up taking over the one too much. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why I didn't have it on my my calendar or my task to-do list, and I feel like that's been a blocker.
I mean, if you got another post in you and we just need to shuffle things around, just let me know and I'll take another crack at it.
No, but I think the way that you split it up so far has made a lot of sense and has made it much more readable. So I really appreciate that. Okay, fantastic. Dan, since you're around, and I'm assuming that's about it for the blogs right now. I want to make sure that we get Victor's stuff out first before we start working on anything else. But if people have any other blog ideas, then like, of course, once we get the landscape a little bit more together, we'll do a blog on the landscape, but that should be, I think, all coming up. But we're also happy to have guest blogs. So if people know anybody who wants to write a guest blog on ours, then they're more than welcome to as well. Sometimes I get outreach from folks who might be good guest bloggers, but I guess the flow there should be that I should send them the form then, right? Roxanne?
Either the form or just point them to me and I'll nag them until they send me something.
Yeah.
No, but like if you say this person,
Um,
do you want to do this? And they say yes, just say cool, work with Roxanne. Like I don't mind, but you can send them the form. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Do we have any form submissions currently?
No. Second.
Yeah, I don't think we've been advertising it too much. So we'll find some places to actually put it out into the world because I think that it's a good intake.
I can put it on the website. I'm also waiting for your feedback on the website, I think.
Yes. Okay, I really am the big bottleneck here.
Yeah.
Okay, I will, the website and then the blog. Okay, that's on my to-do. And then the lunch event, I guess, as well.
I mean, I will organize it, but yeah, you will be there as the person
Okay.
like, hosting it.
I was gonna say just schedule it for her and tell her it's a
Yeah.
lecture. She'll show up.
Maybe we need to have a separate working session where I just sit down and go through some of these things. That might be like a little bonus session that we have. Is anybody here going to be at Open Source Summit North America by any chance? Is it just me so far?
Just you, I think, but there's a lot of other members, just not from this group, I think.
Yeah, I think that there will be a lot of interest.
I'll be going to KubeCon Atlanta in November if you're going there.
Ooh, I have not submitted to that yet in CSV, but I did know it was happening. I might try and go. Last time it was in Salt Lake City and I really wanted to go, or Chicago or something like that. And I think it would be cool for us to co-present something on the DataOps initiative there. They let us. So if you're going for sure, Victor, we'll work on like a proposal together.
Yeah, love to. We have only 2 weeks, actually less than 2 weeks left if you want to do something.
Actually,
Yeah.
isn't it closed already? It said May 27th.
Oh no, KubeCon is closed. I already submitted some, but the Colo
Okay.
event is open.
I see.
Worst case, we get into cloud rejects. I know Lori's a big advocate of cloud rejects, so that's like a mini co-located conference for anybody who doesn't get their CFT in.
All right, I'm gonna go. If you need me, I'm on email, and I'll get that for you, Lisa. Have fun at CDCon.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye.
Yes. Thank you so much. Let's do a separate meeting where we just go over everything I need to do. Because
Okay.
I have not been super on the ball lately. Thank you.
But after CDCon, we can do that next week if you want.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, you guys are witnessing firsthand how Roxanne's one job is to, well, one of many jobs. A big headache for her is just wrangling me, apparently. Okay, fantastic. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was workshops. I ran a DataOps workshop for the CDF a little bit ago, and I think it was actually quite well received. And I'm happy to organize more people to do workshops. So I think like a good one to do would be MCP. Vivek, if you want to do like a half-hour workshop on it, if you wanted to. Not to dump all this MCP stuff on you. I just want you to know that that's the option if you want to do it.
Great idea. And I want to thank you for pushing me into this unknown territory. I don't think I would have picked it up anytime this year. I would have just waited for it to mature enough and then look into it. Let me see what I can do using MCP and A2A in the data operations area, and then I think there is value in putting that together so people have a hands-on experience of what is that thing and how do we use it and how do we benefit from it. So I will look into that. And when is this anticipated to take place?
Whenever you want.
Okay.
This is so like if you decide you want to do it, we'll organize it for you, but I'm not going to be like you know we're going to have it on this set date and you have to get it ready by then. If that helps you, then we're happy to do that, but this is like workshops are a rolling thing with the CDF, so yeah.
Okay, let me put something together, and once I have something meaningful, then I will let the group know, and then we can organize something by you all. In terms of the blogs itself, to answer your earlier, I was thinking to do something around Google Cloud Storage cost management. I know it's going to be limited to Google Cloud, but there are a few learnings we had recently, and I think there might be value to other people. It doesn't directly fall under data operations. I mean, it does depending upon how we define it, but that's one area we are looking at. And then earlier, I think Victor and you mentioned data governance and other aspects. Internally within our company, we are trying to figure out how do we manage, what was the word you used earlier? It was decentralized architectures for data management and governance, and how do we tie that with AI governance? So that might be one area in the upcoming month or two where I will be able to help support a little bit.
Okay, fantastic. I'm happy to see it. I don't want to push you too hard. So whatever you feel like excited to write or talk about, like that's what I want you to follow, right? Just a heads up as well, like the workshop that I ran did not have like a hands-on component. So if you want to do a hands-on component, that's really exciting.
Okay.
We have an MCP server that we've set up, and I've had a pretty easy time installing and running other MCP servers, at least with something like Goose or like Claude. It's pretty easy to just take an existing MCP server. Building one takes a little bit of extra time, but it is doable. But yeah, it's totally up to you. If you feel like that barrier of entry is too high, if like you have to do a hands-on component, that's super optional.
Okay, that's actually great context to understand that there can be a component of hands-on, or otherwise we can skip that as well. That is good to know.
Yeah, definitely. And also for workshops, I mean, Dan or Victor or Jesse, if you guys want to do a workshop as well, and if you have like a talk that you want to practice, like we're happy to queue that up as well. Again, just a talk is good for a workshop. It doesn't have to be like a full hands-on workshop experience. Oh yeah, Dan is in. All right.
Believe me, I can talk all day. You just tell me when and where, and I'll do it.
Okay, sounds good. If you have a list of like predetermined topics that you want to do, like feel free to throw them in, and then we'll schedule it in.
What kind of theme are you looking for exactly?
Honestly,
I
pretty
can cover
open-ended.
anything
I
from
mean,
infrastructure to AI to cybersecurity to open source philosophy or anything. I was just reviewing my book. It's about to be published. It's going to be published by Till and Francis in October. So they just emailed me the final draft. So I was just going through that. So I have tons of material available to talk about. Just give me a theme so I can think along those lines.
Yeah, I like the idea of like cloud native data management or like deploying like AI applications on Kubernetes. One of the things that we talked about in the MCP and A2A discussion was like how agents are deployed using Kubernetes, how Kubernetes can be the control plane for some of that stuff. That's sort of like to give you some guidelines of like some really cool things that could be done. But I think that like keeping it Kubernetes themed might be really interesting actually.
Yeah, I'm actually right now. I am in process of doing work of that kind. So as a developer,
Yeah,
I don't see.
for some reason, you sound a little muffled suddenly.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Better, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that this is an interesting idea. You want me to go hands-on with this, or we can go theoretical or conceptual with this as well. Uh, it's not as a developer. I don't think that it's really. I don't know what's. It's just Kubernetes is a form of deployment that you want to go instead of going monolithical or on a single VM or Docker based. So you might want to go to Kubernetes. So yeah, we can set that up, and I can give basic concepts around that. Agents are basically they're at best they're functions with backend to connected to your API of any LLM MOGA. It could be Meta or OpenAI or Google or Anthropic. So that is pretty much it if you want to keep it simple. But we can go deeper into those concepts and how we can work this around, because definitely Kubernetes allows you a good amount of scaling and all of that, but it's kind of really hard to set up initially. And there are a lot of things you need to consider around that. So if you have a small application, you might want to go with a single VM and a Docker. But if you want to go bigger, then obviously microservices and Kubernetes are the way to go. So that is something we can talk about. That can actually spur up a lot of discussion. I can do this all day. So what's the timeline? You might want to give me that. And this is something, yeah, definitely I can talk about.
Let's do like a 2-month timeline. If it's a really chewy workshop, then I might even want to push it arguably to September so that we can promote it a little bit easier, because I feel like summer can be a bit of a downtime sometimes. But I would say ideally like end of August, early September is what we would be looking at.
Okay, so my timeline is this. Look, I have next month I'm moving to Spain. I have to start my PhD. Um, First 2 weeks of September, I would be in Copenhagen, and I would not be available. August would be off for me, pretty much. So yeah, end of August, no problem. But the somewhat from the start of September till the third week, I'll be in Copenhagen, and then in October, the first week, I'll be in Athens. After that, I'll be free. So that's my timeline. That is on. Yeah.
Let's do end of August. I think end of August is a good time.
Yeah, end of August. Yeah, I'll be settled in Spain by then. I'm moving next month. Yeah, end of August is fine. End of August is fine.
Okay,
And
sounds
Spanish
good.
people tend to take
You
their
can let us know which date
July,
works. Yeah.
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 Sorry.
And I mean, it'll. So the workshops are run with Saeem. So if you know what he would be interested in too, you can also talk with him because he runs a lot of the workshops as well. So this is full
Yeah,
circle.
I can talk to him. What would we want to? I want to talk about him. I am coming on his channel for discussion on MCP and AI wrapper companies and all of that. We're having a discussion on DevOps as well. So I am in his city right now. I'm in Islamabad right now. I'm in his city right now. I might meet up with him. So I would definitely talk to him if he is required. But yeah, you give that to me. I can do it on my own as well. Whatever suits you, I'll do it. No problem.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. And this is really exciting because by then we'll have more on the landscape to be able to push out to, so we can use it to promote your landscape work. as well if we're keeping it sort of in an ecosystem view, and we can kind of see some of the tooling that you bring into the fold.
Sure.
Fantastic. Is there anything on the landscape that you need from me right now at this moment?
I thought the team was gonna think on any other pointers that they might want to add before I actually start finalizing it and set up tools and approach companies. So if that is done, should I approach companies to open source companies to add their landscape and all of that? So there is this update that my book was it is on how to leverage open source to build a corporate IT infrastructure. So there were some tools I mentioned like Passbolt. So their head of marketing, they're contacting me. They want a copy of the book so that they can put it on the LinkedIn post and all that. So that kind of gave me the idea that if those pointers are done and if we're good to go with that, I can actually leverage that to approach companies, get their names in on the on our landscape and get their projects. They can submit their projects. I don't know if there is a form for that. On how do we judge them as incubating or whatever criteria do you have for that? So yeah, that is what I wanted clarity on.
Yeah, with the Passport guys that you said?
Passport is one of them, but if they're approaching me, I can approach other companies as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah,
So,
no, let's use Passport as the first example. And the reason why I say that is because I know the Passport team really well. I know their CEO. So we can make some mistakes with them. If they feel like it's not a smooth experience, then they'll give us the feedback.
yeah, definitely.
That's funny.
Definitely.
But yeah, let's use them as the example then. And what I'll do is I'll work with Roxanne, because I'll schedule a separate working session with her on how we want that flow to be in terms of the form submission and stuff about the company that people can submit and what their relationship to the project is. Whereas you can stay focused on like the really technical evaluation side and you don't have to worry about that stuff.
Yeah, just let me know how the process unfolds from there, and we'll follow along. No problem.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for your hard work. And you also ran an introduction for us. I think Roxanne probably reached out to him, but if he wants to join in for any of this work, or if you feel like there's a particular task that we can give him so that he can feel much easier kind of jumping into the initiative, you let me know and we can work that out.
Yeah, he told me he'll contact you. He is actually traveling because of some DataBricks conference. I don't know. So once he's back from there, so he said that he will definitely contact you guys.
Oh, I wish I knew. I could have met him at the DataBricks conference.
Oh, I did not know
Okay, sounds good. No, it's okay. Honestly, the last couple of weeks have been so big for the data conferences. I was wondering if we wanted to do like a birds of a feather of some of the Databricks and Snowflake release announcements. If people want to do that here, I'm happy to host that discussion.
that. Yeah, I can definitely talk to him about that.
Yeah, we can do that, but
Yeah,
I think
let's do that.
it might get very tense because we've worked with both the companies, and then I'm very opinionated about the products and offerings. But I think there is some good in that as well. But yeah, it can be a good topic, but we might make a lot of enemies.
It's okay. This is recorded, and we're definitely going to write a blog post linking our names to all of the opinionated things we have. I'm also quite opinionated, especially because we do a competitor to Unity, and so there's a lot going on, and I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. I think it's with OpenFlow, or that Snowflake released as well, which is like kind of just a wrapper around NiFi, Apache NiFi, because they acquired Datavolo before. So I think that a spicy discussion is a good discussion.
Yeah, it's actually
Maybe
nice.
we'll make that for next week.
Yeah, we can do that. And I think I like Jesse's idea. Heavily got all the hot takes. I think that increases a lot of traffic. I think our YouTube videos.
I like that we're thinking like marketers.
Yeah. It's like free marketing. Just put in Snowflake and Databricks, and then now I searched for MCP DataOps, and the first thing which shows up is our video, and the second link is the blog post. So I think it's good for
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I think that'll be nice. We can
For
maybe
SEO.
yeah. It might be nice
Yeah.
to
Oh,
determine where do these organizations provide value and where do they succeed the most and where does it make more sense. I think we can reword it so that it's not like we're throwing them under the bus. There is value, but only in those scenarios where it's better to be open source and in-house.
okay, sounds good. I will help run that discussion then, and we'll do it for next meeting if that's okay with everybody. I think it'll be a really great discussion, and we might as well do it while it's still top of mind. And it'll be a spicy one, but I'm really excited for it for sure. Awesome. Let's have some time for some open discussion. I think for the Git book, we haven't done too much on it. The only thing that I might want to ask Jesse is if he wants to add like some MCP stuff or some A to A stuff as chapters to the Git book. What do you think, Jesse?
Y'all are the technical experts here. If you tell me where it makes sense to put it and you give me the resources, I will make it fit.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, if you want to take a look through the chapter organization, we can add it in and we can like move it around too later if we feel like it needs to fit somewhere else as things evolve for sure. Right, sounds good. And I think for probably the next thing that we want to do with the Git book is probably look at ways where we can get the community to be able to contribute it if they want to as well. I think a lot of the stuff that Vivek is doing could like eventually become a chapter in this, especially if he's going to run a workshop eventually. And so let's think of like a cool way to have that process shareable so that, again, I don't become a bottleneck on too many things. That's a very classic DevOps type move right now, is that the one person becomes a bottleneck. And we'll probably move that repo over to like the CDF at some point so that we can add people as contributors and have them be able to do that and start like a little README on it. That's a funny title, Jesse, in the chat, but you'll never believe what these DataOps engineers think of the Databricks and Snowflake changes. As long as we're not doing like clickbaity thumbnails and you have to have like Vivek's face with like a thumbs up or something like that. Yeah. That's
Then
actually
how are we
pretty
supposed to
funny.
get the clicks now? Come on.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. That's awesome. So yeah, let's talk about some open discussion type stuff. Victor, do you want to lead this open discussion? We don't have a ton of time, but I'm happy to discuss some of the metadata stuff, and we'll leave the MCP for later. Yeah.
Before that, probably I checked the Colo event. There's no CDCom, so there are two. If they're interested in submitting something, one is the Data on Kubernetes Day. The other one is Cloud Native Kubernetes AI Day. I think the AI Day will be very popular, so very competitive to get a spot down there. The Data on Kubernetes Day, I think, is interesting. So I don't know anyone here other than you. I'll be going for sure. I already booked my hotel, so. Yeah, I think the Data on Kubernetes Day could be interesting because it's related to DataOps, and I may even reach out to Paul, see whether he's interested in that, like a panel, something like that, about not only because what he has so far is all about running database on Kubernetes, but nothing about DataOps. So this could be something new for him that he might be interested in.
Yeah, if you want to be the one to start that conversation, I think that would be really interesting. And Paul knows about us already, and we were planning to have some more work with the data on Kubernetes. I think you were in those initial conversations as well. So this is a really good way for us to start moving on that. What do you think?
Are you on DOK Slack?
Yes. So you should be able to loop me into those conversations. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, and I don't know if Roxanne is on the DOK Slack, but if she is, feel free to also loop her into those conversations as well.
Okay. Yep. All right. So the other
Yeah.
conversation
And
is, yeah, I mean, I just said I watched like 3 or 4 of your videos in the last few days. So very interesting talk. Yeah, that got me interested in what is not Cupertino, what is the name of the open source project from your company?
Data sorry, Apache Gravitino. My brain's
Company,
not
yeah,
working well today.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love to understand. Maybe not enough time, but maybe in the future even understand like what's the design principles behind the project, and like when it comes to data governance, right? I'm interested in AI governance. I'm actually drawing up a so-called open SSF AI security baseline. I'm doing that right now.
Hmm.
So I'm very familiar with AI governance, which include data governance, but definitely not into as much detail when it comes to data governance. So like to understand the data governance and how do they play in the overall big picture. And another area, as I put in the Slack, is the idea of data mesh has been a very popular idea, right? So there's another one that's getting popular is decentralized AI model, including federated learning, speed learning, and then also how to do decentralized database, including either using centralized identity management or like decentralized identity management. Blockchain, all that good stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about, but I guess we need to start from somewhere. So probably maybe since we only have like a few minutes left, there's nothing else. Maybe can you give us some like introduction? What does design principle of your project, the open source project, about data governance?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm sure that if you've gone over some of those, then you understand that we do like the catalog of catalogs model. And so what we do is like a federated or proxy model. And so let's say that you define like a specific policy within Gravitino, that will be propagated to like its underlying system. So let's say if you want to propagate it to like another catalog, then that's kind of how Gravitino ends up working. If you wanted to define some sort of like access permission management, then that will be translated to the underlying system, like say IAM. To give a very high level overview to folks, Apache Gravitino is one of the projects that I work on, and we just graduated as a top level project in the ASF. And essentially it's a metadata management system or a meta store that works as an interface for different query engines to work with. So most catalogs in this space are around the business use case. So how do I define the business data and how do I kind of do some of that work? We're much lower level than that. And so, but what makes it kind of different from a typical meta store is that it actually is meant to interoperate with other catalogs. So a lot of different databases will come with their own catalog, or you can plug in your own catalog with them. So for instance, if you're working with MySQL or any other Java database, you can use something called a JDBC catalog, which is like the Java database sort of connector. And then if you're working with, say, Snowflake, you'll have like a Snowflake catalog as well, which is proprietary. Or if you're working in like AWS or S3 buckets, you'll have the AWS Glue catalog. And there's some open source catalogs as well that have been very popular these days. Like if you're managing Iceberg tables, there's the Iceberg catalog. The Iceberg project comes with a spec for the catalog, but you actually still need to like create and run the service that complies with the spec, which is something that a lot of people do these days, including us, including, Apache Polaris, those other projects that you'll see around. So this metadata management thing is quite complicated because every single data source kind of has its own catalog that you can plug into, but it's very hard to define your different access permission management systems or like some of the tagging that you might have for your data across all of those systems at once. And so that's kind of why we've decided to go, okay, nobody's ever going to use one single tool to do it well. It's just very impossible with something like metadata. And because metadata tends to be the point where a lot of vendors will do their lock-in because it's very valuable, but it's also where a lot of operations happens. And so one of the things that we've decided to do as part of Gravitino is to do a federation model where, okay, you define in Gravitino, but you have the option to plug into another catalog or inherit from another catalog. And then you can push down to those systems as well. And that's kind of the, like, we've accepted defeat in sort of that area, in that, like, okay, this is just something that's unchangeable. So we're going to create a flexible system instead of something that is very rigid and forces you to migrate out of something like JDBC or even like Hive Metastore. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I'd love to learn more. I know there's not much time. I think we can discuss a little bit every time, every meeting. I have a lot of questions, especially when it comes to, as I said, I mean, I'm interested in like for developers, what is good to data practices, right? But actually, Dan, I'm not sure are you listening or not. I'd like to get your, if you are, your idea, because you're into the CI/CD as well as data, right? What do you think when it comes to data governance? What Lisa just described?
Sorry, you might want to elaborate, like, oh, what exactly on data governance are we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So CI/CD is that's the traditional DevOps, right? Now we're talking
Yeah,
about
that's
DataOps. So
yeah.
since you're experts in CI/CD, what do you think is open challenges and topics and solutions to DataOps and data governance and also the project that Lisa just talked about? What's your thought on that?
I think as far as the data governance is concerned, people on the more challenges that we face are on the smaller companies, right? The bigger companies, they have their own GRC teams. They have little guys who look after, the ISO and all these kind of certifications, and they ensure quality assurance and all of that. Obviously, if you're talking about Fang or Moga, they all have all of this. So I don't think on that there are much of these challenges. The problem is the little guys and the mid-sized companies where they are unable to, in security, you need to understand one thing. Security is never like the optimum solution, right? You're either, if you go too much towards security, you're not going towards optimization. Um, uh, spend a lot of time on procedures and all of that. That is the on the governance and risk compliance and all of that. That is a whole different set of efforts. Okay, although there might be some best practices that we can talk about, but let's talk practical. That whenever you're more security focused, your efficiency is something that is going to be a problem. So your ease of use, the security, and your efficiency, it's a triangle. So you always have to find a sweet spot, and that is where the challenge always lies. Because when you're too much security centric, now if you're in a military environment and all of that, you don't care about optimization. You are moving towards what you call true security. That is where data. I think Jesse would be quite aware of the procedures on how to handle top secret, and all of that. That not only applies to physical documents, it also applies to the digital documents as well. And they have very good procedures in place. But following those procedures, how secure it may be, you're compromising on optimization as well. So if you're talking on a framework level, you need to actually be able to identify how they need to be. You need to have some levels, right? So level one would be, okay, security is paramount. So obviously you forget optimization, you forget ease of use. Okay, then there will be level two, that okay, the data is, you have certain risk appetite for those things, and then you might want to go um, uh, a bit towards ease of use and a bit towards efficiency. Okay, and then there will be level three that, okay, data is pretty much public. We don't care if it gets leaks and all of that. We want good. We want ease of use and all of that. So that is how you can set up basic levels around that. So on a practical level, that is on a governance standpoint, that is one of the biggest challenges. Maybe not for the bigger companies, but for the mid-size and the smaller companies. they tend to go, they tend to struggle a lot with that, whether you are talking about data pipelines, CI/CD pipelines, or deployments. Uh, I can, there is a tool called, I use that a lot.
Love this conversation, but I think it's a top of the hour. Yeah,
Yeah.
love to dig into ask more questions in the future. Lisa, about I definitely see a distributed catalog very useful. And then Dan, you love your digging into what's the requirement and what's the challenges, solutions, and
Yeah.
be prepared. I'm very interested in asking questions about these topics. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, we're at the top of the hour right now, but Victor, just let you know, I've set some time on the Birds of a Feather. So I'm going to make the next Birds of a Feather June 2nd, and then the one after that is July 30th. And I've put that topic as meta stores and decentralized data governance. I don't want to be too preferential to tools, even though it's my preference of tools. And then we can probably do some open discussion. We can have the whole hour for that on that day. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for having an amazing meeting. I was not sure how much we would get done today, but we got a ton of stuff in, and I'm really happy to see it. Thank you so much for attending today, and we will see you at the next one.
Have a good day.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Peace.